I know.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My goal here is to top Mr. DeGroot's speech from earlier, so here we go. Good afternoon, families, friends, honored guests, BCI staff, and of course, my fellow graduates. Firstly, I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere thanks to my family, my friends, and of course the BCI staff for their unwavering support throughout the past 4 years. Without your encouragement, I wouldn't be standing here today. But now, we're really here to honor an incredible achievement which we ourselves have worked relentlessly for throughout the past 4 years. Class of 2024, we've really made it. On Tuesday, September 8th of 2020, we walked into BCI for our first day of high school ever. We were the grade 8 class that missed out on our year-end trips. Some of us might still be a little upset about that. We spent months in quarantine, and then all of a sudden we were thrown into this massive 7th-floor building without a clue what we were doing. We were bright-eyed, but the rest of our facial expressions were covered by our masks. We made new friends, felt the freedom of being able to go out for lunch, and that winter we were reminded time and time again, no throwing snow. The pandemic continued to plague us this year, and we were brought into the turbulence of being online once again. It's funny now to think that grade 9 ended the last time that we logged off of some Teams meeting. Looking back, some of us might feel robbed of our grade 9 year. There was no link crew, no lockers, no clubs or teams, and we didn't even really know what some of our teachers' faces looked like. It's crazy to think that back then it was a huge revelation to see someone's whole face for the first time and maybe even feel underwhelmed. But then we came back in grade 10, and we were feeling a little more like real high schoolers, upgrading from 1 class a day to 2. We went online for the final time after winter break, but ultimately our class this year showed that our resilience had meant something. We finally had lockers and semesters. The junior boys football team and the junior boys rugby team became undefeated Aubin champs. And the girls rugby team took home Kwasa, all in the first year back. It even felt like TV shows had some truth to them this particular year because we did have classic BCI Beef Week, a consecutive week of fights in the Geno's parking lot, and the explosion of the devious licks trend. What a time of life it was that we were suddenly given so much freedom that people literally started stealing Stoke dispensers. But then in grade 11, our lives seemed to have changed. We finally were upperclassmen. We could make time for the cooler electives. For some of us, this meant working as hard as possible in fitness class, and for others, this meant working as hard as possible to find the best Viral Friday video in Mr. Edwards' Media Studies class.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we found our first jobs, joined a new sports team, auditioned for Frozen Junior, or maybe this was just the first year that we felt like we had to put a little more effort into our schoolwork than ever before. 4 years of hard work truly culminated in grade 12, though. We could finally look down on the other classes and think, wow, that used to be us. On top of this, we could finally drive. This offered the pleasure of speeding away for lunch, sitting in the parking lots, but this also brought many, many instances of watching someone speed off the property, and you think to yourself, how does this person have a license? I'm sure we have a few bad drivers in mind. Then, faster than any other year, semester 1 sped by, followed by semester 2, and then in the blink of an eye, suddenly we were dazzling at prom, we were writing our final exams, and we were saying our final farewells to BCI. While writing this speech, the hardest challenge was effectively summarizing the past 4 years of literal blood, sweat, and tears on behalf of everyone. Some of you may have loved the past 4 years, and some of you may have hated it. But if there's one thing that I know brought a lot of people together throughout these past 4 years, it's games. In a literal sense, yes, we were brought together by things like rugby games, games in gym class, the suspenseful senior boys football games this past year. But I'm talking more about the explosion of popular mobile games. I'm talking about things like Clash Royale, Wordscapes, Subway Surfers, the games that plagued your minds in class, had you reaching for your phone, often leading to a put away your phone, or serrez le téléphone if you were in French immersion. Thinking about it now, there were so many games. Geometry Dash, Sudoku, Cooking Fever, Clash of Clans, the infamous Rise and Fall of Among Us. I know for a fact there are some Heyday fans in the crowd. Yeah. Maybe a teacher indulged in playing the Wordle back in its prime. There was chess.com, sending iMessage games to random phone numbers throughout a period. Literally anything to kill the time before 2:55 every single day. However, I'd like to talk today about one specific game, which I know many people enjoyed in a business class or two, Tetris. I couldn't tell you the number of times that I've heard people bragging over their new Tetris high scores. So the unwavering popularity of Tetris, almost 40 years after its release, leads me to one thing that I guess you might take away from this speech, which is you can't reinvent the wheel, so there's that. But now I'd like to tell you why I think Tetris is a perfect reflection of our high school experience. At first, you're immediately thrown into playing the game. You have to decide whether you prefer using WASD or the arrow keys. You have to decide who you want to eat lunch with for the first few months of the year. You decide when you're going to use the space bar to drop a block, and you decide who your favorite few teachers are. You're getting the hang of things, and you mess up a few times, but that's okay, because the falling pieces are still falling slowly. Then the classic Tetris jingle picks up a bit, and you finally fall into the rhythm of the game. You've made real friends, maybe you've discarded some old ones, and double, triple combos are clearing out rows upon rows of bricks. Finally, you're enjoying high school, and you're no longer being told to cover your nose with a mask. Things are finally starting to feel good. Throughout the years, things seem to become quite easy. You don't need to think about how many times you need to spin each of the little bricks to make things fit. You can say hi to your favorite teachers every day, you know the school layout better than the back of your hand, and you're constantly riding the high of almost being a real high school senior. You get there, and you feel unbeatable. Your Tetris high score is over 50,000, and then suddenly, the bricks start falling faster. Suddenly, your academic classes are keeping you up until ungodly hours in the morning, and your sports are keeping you exhausted all the time. The taps of your fingertips can't quite keep up with the pace of the music, and the bricks are just piling higher and higher. You're stressed about how you're going to fix this, how you'll meet the deadlines, how you'll make it all work, how you'll satisfy everyone. You're suddenly making life-lasting decisions at 17 years old. Maybe, for the first time, you felt real heartbreak, disappointment, or letdown. Before you know it, everything just gets so quick, so fast, and the bricks overflow on your screen, and then suddenly the game is over. Now, the large difference between Tetris and high school, or life even, is that in Tetris, you try again. You can go on to play a new round, and you forget about the collapse of the past game. We don't really get that, not exactly. We don't get to completely start over without feeling the consequences of our past efforts. I really started to think about this, Tetris, all the time while I was writing this. And very plainly, no, we can't completely start over. But then I started to think about every year that we came back to BCI, and we saw it as a new beginning. And now, even as we've left BCI, we've all moved on to new things. And it kind of made me think differently of what it means to start over. We will always have chances to start fresh, using what we've learned from past experiences. We will always have chances to change, grow, and make new paths for ourselves. We've now been apart from each other for a few months now. Maybe some of us have found new beginnings in new places. And as much as we may have seen Brantford as our home for some, most, or all of our lives, I'm sure that almost everyone in this room feels the excitement of moving on to bigger and better things now. As we leave this room tonight and we go our separate ways, it's without a doubt that these new chapters will allow us to become who we want to be as a result of the memories, lessons, and lived experiences that we've felt together throughout the past 4 years. Our class knows better than anyone how quickly life can change in an instant. Personally, global pandemic was never on my lifetime bingo card. We live in a world where we can never really anticipate life's next challenge, and we live with the understanding that we will continue to face many struggles as we move forward. There will certainly come a day when we worry more about keeping ourselves afloat than anything, and the pleasure that was absent-mindedly playing mobile games in class will seem like a lifetime away. I think it's incredibly easy to let times pass you by and to ignore the beautiful thing that is your life until you wish that you could go back and revisit all the pleasant memories. So I'll leave you with this. Appreciate every single day. As much as you might want to rush straight to whatever your next big milestone is, who knows how the person you are today might change between now and then. It's the memories you make and the lessons you learn between point A and point B which give this finish line any sort of value at all. Make new friends and appreciate those that you have. Say please and thank you in every conversation. Compliment the people that you've always wanted to. Reach out and ask questions. Share your talents, create works of art, and invest time into your passions. Check in on the people you love. Make amends. Don't hold grudges. Continue to try your absolute hardest, but don't be ignorant of your own failures. And most importantly, look onward at your future with hope while relishing in the past with fondness. I can't even begin to imagine all the independent struggles which everyone here might face in the future, but I will say, in the face of those struggles, it's worthwhile to be reminded of Phoebe Bridgers' infamous lyric in her song Waiting Room, and that is, no wins for the better. What comes next will be hard, challenging, but ultimately it will be new. We will rise to the occasion. Nothing may come to be as you may have expected, but nonetheless, remember, in the words of John Lennon, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Congratulations to the class of 2024. Thank you to every single one of you, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Yeah!